if we want to store not one value in one variable, but a couple of values, how can we do that? For that, there are arrays. Okay, in arrays we can just store more values in one variable. How can we do that? As usual, let's create a new class. We call this class arrays. We use this method, static void main method. So now we want, in this case, work with strings. We used a lot of integer, and we should also use other variable types. So we know that I can call the string. I can create a variable string with this. Yeah, I write string, then I name the string equal to, let's say, hello world. Okay, so but I would like to store more variables string, more value string in one variable. How can I do that? Well, I have to use arrays, and we use arrays in this way. We write string, we use some brackets, square brackets, and then we give a name of the variable, let's say string array. Okay, equal to, we can, in this case, we can just use the word new and then string, and then string, and now you can see we have an error here. Variable must provide either dimension expression or an array initializer. So we have to give here how big is this array. So let's say we want to store 5 values, then we should give 5. So we create the variable string array, which is an array through these squares brackets here, and then we create this variable using new string, and we give the value how big this is. Okay, so if you want to store a variable, let's say I want to store computer companies. Okay, then I write string array, and then I write here, for example, 0, which means index 0. As you should remember that in computer science we start counting from 0. Okay, so the first index is not 1 but is 0. When you say 0, string array at the position 0 equal to, let's say, Samsung. Okay, then I want to create another, add another value at the position 1, and I write here Apple, and then I want to add another value, let's say at the position 2, of course, and then I write here Lenovo. Okay, and so on. We don't have to fool the wall array. Okay, so if you want to print this array, I can just, as usual, just give the name of the array and the position that I want. Let's say I want the array, the value at the index 1, which is Apple. If I start the program, we'll have here Apple. Okay, because it's the value 1 at the index 1. Okay, if I want the same, but let's say the value 2, I copy and paste that, I run the program again, and I have Apple and Lenovo. Okay, So it is very, very simple. Let's say we want to, for example, do something more complex. Let's say we have an array with a lot of values, let's say 100 values. Well, it is a little bit complicated for every value just to write system out, print line, just to declare, and so on. I can, for example, just use some loops in order to print every value of an array. Okay, let's try it. So we use the loop for, and as you can remember, in loop for we have to give a condition, a start value. We give this an integer. The function in this case of this integer will be the array index. This is why we call this integer I, and we say that this I is equal to 0. Then we have to give until which point this loop will be used, and we write I should be less than what? Well, less than the length of this array. Okay, because we have to know how long is this array, how big is this array, how many indexes there are in this array. Okay, and we want just to run the for loop only until the end, the last array index. Okay, so in order to do that, we write here string array, and we tap on the dot, and this is a little bit as we did with the class string. We have here a lot of methods, and we can just use the length method, and the length method tells us how many indexes there are in this array, and we give back an integer. This is what we want. Okay, and then this is what it happens at the end. The I variable should be added to 1. Okay, so, and what we want? Well, we want that we print the string array at the index I. Okay, so we are saying create a variable equal to 0. We will use this variable for the index of this array. Okay, then I want that this loop will just go ahead, go over and over and over again until the last index of this array will be reached. Okay, and every time you should add 1 to this value I. Okay, so the first time the value would be 0. This is the start point. Okay, so this will print the array at the point at the index 0, which is Samsung. Then and 1 will be added to the I variable, so in this case I will be 1, and then it will be print the value at the index 1, and so on. Okay, just we start the program, and we have here, so Samsung, which is right, Apple, which is right, Lenovo, which is right, and then we have null and null. What does it mean? Well, we declare here this string with 5 indexes, so 5 positions. Okay, we only give 3 positions. Okay, that's why we have here 2 times null. If we want this null anymore, then we should just add more values. Let's do that. String array at the position 3. I will call that answer, and then string at the position string array at the position 4, and we will call that which is also a computer company. Okay, I want just to comment these lines. So I run now the application, and we have Samsung, Apple, Lenovo, Acer, and Medium, which is right. But we can also fill a wall array with numbers, not only print the numbers or the values. In order to do that, let's create first of all a new array. Okay, integer array, we call that numbers, equal to new integer int, and we want 5 indexes. Okay, then we use a for loop, and again we use an integer called I. You can call, of course, this variable how do you like, how you do more like, and we say the value is 0 because we start with at the position 0, and then we use the same method which is length, because we want to fill the wall array until the end, until the last position, and then we want to add also use to add 1 every time to the variable to the value of the variable I. Okay, so now we want to create, let's create a new value. We create the value, let's create the value here, int, we call that value equal to 0. Okay, and then we want first of all we want here to add numbers at the position I, which is the index, equal to, and what we want to add, we want to add the value, so the variable value. Okay, let's print this value, sorry, the array at this position, which is I, and then we want just to add value to something here. So let's add to value the number 2. Okay, so we created a new array of integers. Okay, it with 5 indexes. We create a new variable integer value equal to 0, and then we create a loop. We have created a loop. In this loop we create a variable I for the index of the array. Then we want to that this loop runs for the wall length of this array, and then we want that every time will be add 1 to the index I. Okay, so we want at the index, at the position of y, every time add the value in this variable, so the value of the variable value. Okay, we print it, and then we add 2 to the value. So if we run it, we should have something like the value should be 0, then 2, then 4, then 6, and then 8. So this is actually right. Okay, so I want to just explain why we write here less than and not less than or equal. This is because we start with 0, so the first index, the length of this array is 5, which is right. Yeah, but the length of this we count by 0 with 0. Okay, so the first value of the array at the position 1 will be at the index 0, so the second value will be at the position at the index 1, the third at the position 2, and so on. And this is why we don't use this equal, because equal will be 5, but the position 5 is out of the bounds of this array. If we run this example, and if I write here equal, we will get an error. And the error says exception thread main, which is this method, index 5 out of the bounds for length 5. Why? Because the length of this array is 5, but the last index is not 5, but is 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So this is very important. So if you don't want the error, then just write less than and not less or equal. Okay, and then I want to show you something more. If you already know the values of the array, you don't have to write every time something like this. You can just declare the array, let's say array names, okay, and then you just put the values here inside. Let's say John, Agatha, and Michelle. Okay, and then of course you can just write again a loop like we did here, and then I copy and paste this loop here. I change here the name, so I run the program. So, and we have here John, Agatha, Michelle, and so on, and then the other values. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and thumb up, and see you in the next video. Bye.